All right, we are live for another episode of Real Estate Junkies Podcast. If you are ready to unleash your full potential in your real estate business, join us for this episode where we dive into the incredible journey of Alexis Carrera. In just less than a year, Alexis not only closed over $10 million in transactions, but also expanded her reach internationally, building a network that thrives on mutual growth and success. You will discover how networking, masterminds, and a supportive community can catapult your real estate career to new heights. From mastering the art of branding to leading with psychology, Alexis shares her blueprint to success that has made her a top agent on social media in Michigan. So don't miss out on this game changing episode if you are looking to grow your business and become a magnetic force in the real estate world. Alexis, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure having you here finally.
Thank you. I love that intro, magnetic force. That's
Oh,
incredible.
chat GPT language, you know that? Like, I gotta play that chat GPT game.
You're so sad. I actually saw somebody post something. I don't know. It was on a real estate, humor page, and an agent copied and pasted a description for a listing and forgot to take out chat GPT in the beginning and posted it all over the place. It was all over the internet, public on Zillow, on the MLS. Like, that's a rookie
That
move.
is hilarious.
Yeah, it's can you imagine? Oops. I mean, you should probably cross your T's and dot your I's before you put anything on the, publicly
I mean,
listed.
yeah, like, AI, but don't be like don't be like that. Like, use AI, but use your brain too sometimes.
Yeah, it's important. But yeah, here's the thing, and that's a good point too. Use your brain. I mean, it's convenience, right? Get a little bit of a leg up. Get some assistance if you need to figure out how to reword something. Sure, but as soon as you're tapping into something and literally copying and pasting, I'm guilty of it. I've done it, but I mean, I use it on Instagram specifically. I just copy. I'm like, give me a definition, or give me a break, give me
Caption.
a caption. Yeah, give me a caption for this, and this is what I want to talk about. I just copy and paste because nobody reads that stuff really anyway. But
I know, right? And it's
is that
like it's
some?
SEO. Like, it is important. The caption needs to be there. You might as well use something, right? But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, and I know you what now, over a year, 2 years maybe, and
I don't remember how we met.
it's funny how we met, and I think it's always that like-mindedness that attracts, right? Of course, we are both in EXP, and that's one thing, right? But when I learned your journey and your story, it's pretty interesting, and I want to kind of cover a little bit of that. So tell us how you came across real estate, how did you get into real estate, and what was your initial journey like when you're getting like, $10 million in sales in your first year? That's amazing. Like, what did you do? What did you eat for breakfast? I'm just kidding, but tell us your story.
How I got involved in real estate. I always loved houses, like from the time that I was really little. I would say the first memory that I have of real estate in general, I was probably 6 years old, and I was born and raised in the Petoskey, Michigan area. We were up north. My parents were building our house there, with Lake Michigan as my backyard, soon to be backyard. And there's a community up there. It's called Bay Harbor, and at the time it was a quarry. And a developer went in there and bought it, and then blew it up literally with TNT and opened up into this whole thing. I mean, it was just this masterpiece, and it's gorgeous. So if you ever look it up, I mean, it's stunning. And I loved it. I loved the experience of it. I loved the excitement of it. I loved being able to the freedom of it. It was just exciting to me. And
So watching a neighborhood grow from like nothing to okay.
nothing. I mean, it was literally just a mound of rock, and then it turned into this amazing development. It's incredible. So I think that's when I fell in love with it the first time. And then periodically throughout my life, my parents would buy and sell homes, and we would build here. We moved down here. My parents split, and we moved down here. My mom built another house. So I was always involved in real estate. I have 2 family members that are also realtors, and I never saw myself as really loving being a realtor, because to me it was very mainstream. Like at the time in my mind, I saw it like like you're selling Mary Kay or Avon sales. Like I just didn't really appreciate being an agent. But things have changed since then, right? So it was when I was in high school, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do the thing and stick to the stream of what everybody expects me to do. And I wasn't happy. I was miserable in college. I was not a school person. I always wanted to talk and network and be around people and have fun. I was the fun person. I loved making money and I loved business. I grew up in a business family, very deep. My father grew a global corporation in the auto industry that was plastic based. And so that's what I grew up around. But I realized I loved it still, no matter what I did, everything took me back to real estate. So I decided to drop out of college. And
Wow.
yeah.
So what were you supposed to be? Like, what were you going to school for?
I was studying psychology.
Oh, wow. Well, not too far off, right? We
No,
play with psychology.
because we as realtors wear so many different hats, right?
Yeah.
And we really are counselors and support systems for our clients on a regular basis. And I love it. And it's so much fun. So I decided to get my real estate license. And it took me a few years because, again, I did the self-study. I don't know why I did that to myself. I still laugh about it to this day. When you're that young, you just don't know yourself really. Like, subconsciously, but you're like, Joe Schmo over here did it. And he said he did a good job. So I got this too. I just wasn't being honest with myself. So it took me 2 years to actually finish the course. And I was working and young and partying. And I was in a new relationship with my most recent ex-husband at the time. Lots of life changes recently. But that's when we started dating. So I was helping him grow his business. He was in and still is active in landscape design and build, construction. So concrete, flat work, he does swimming pools and things of that nature. So in my mind, I'm like, this is going to be amazing. We can have this umbrella company and grow this awesome thing together. Again, the business mindset, you're a product of your environment unless you decide to change it, right? So, so that's what I was doing. I was helping him grow our thing and I was just kind of laying low. And one day, it was about 3 years ago, one day I woke up and I said, it's time. And
it's time. I'm going to finish my 40-hour course in 2 years.
I'm going to finish this 40-hour course. I'm going to get my certificate, dang it. And I'm going to do this. So I did. I mustered up. I was like, okay, I got to be honest with myself. Let's just do this. I was obsessed. I don't think I left my house for a week. I don't think I probably even hardly brushed my teeth. I finished it and then I went to go take the exam and I failed. And I was like, I'm like, this is not looking good for me. And at the time, before, just like the rest of us, before we're actually involved in the industry, we think that that's going to make or break us. So I walked up and I'm not typically an emotional.
Like, I failed. I'm never going to be an agent again.
I'm like, I need to go back to college. I'm like, my plan's failing. What do I do?
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, God. So it took me, I think it was 3 times I took it. I don't remember.
3 times try? Oh, well, not bad, right? I mean, look, what doesn't break you, what was it called? What doesn't break you make you stronger?
Here's the thing, a lot of people say this. At the end of the day, because of myself, I've always just kind of gotten, call it luck, call it whatever you will, but I've always just kind of gotten away with it. Things just have always just worked out in the end, right? With whatever
university aligning itself for you.
So in my mind, I'm like, it's going to be Peter. Like, I don't need to, that's how I got through high school. That's how I was just like, we'll just wing it. It'll work. So not the case. So do not do that. If that's your habit, if you're like me, we got this. You need to know the information because they try to trip you up. They use reverse psychology in it and it's complicated and it's scary because it's a very quiet room and you can't even bring your own pencil. And they basically cavity search you. You know what I mean? If you're walking, it's a little intimidating. And that at the young age, I didn't understand the industry and it was a lot to walk into. And I felt like, I need to do this. And I'll never forget the feeling of hitting that button after the second time and immediately you get results and it said failed. And I was like, so I cried again. And then eventually I passed and very quickly realized after doing my research, I didn't like any of the brokerage models.
Yeah.
like,
Wow. Mhm.
maybe I go to school and become an architectural engineer um, and maybe just be a developer and sell my own real estate. I mean, all these things were
So what
going on.
was it about? What was it about the brokerage model that, I'm very, very excited. Like I'm very like obsessed with talking about like different brokerage. What was it about that you didn't like? I mean, you didn't know what you didn't know, right?
Correct. Yes,
So,
because I had never stepped into the world, but
mm,
I'm meeting with these people, and I'm like, yeah. And the first time that I showed up to a meeting, I thought that
mm,
I was being interviewed.
mm.
So I was like, I'm going to show up, and you know what I mean. We all go
I
through that, like,
impressed them.
yeah, like blow the socks off these people, and they're going to want to work with me. So I showed up, and I was immediately bored. They gave me a tour, and I very quickly realized they want me there.
Mm,
Whether I fail or succeed, it's a numbers game because
mhm,
there are cubicles and there are
mm,
people dialing and there are people, you know what I mean? And there's so many things. It's like Wolf of Wall Street. It's like working in the stock market for a lot of these places that are larger brokerages.
mhm,
And I'm not going to name names, but I walked immediately out of there and I was like, I'm never going back there again. And then I realized maybe something's different dynamic, or different culture with the same brokerage but somewhere else. And I started looking into the model and things. I'm looking at the money that I'm taking away. I'm looking at the growth opportunity. And I just felt like I was here and the brokerage was like this.
yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what you do, yeah, I can go out there and sell real estate. But again, remember the beginning of my story was I never really liked the idea of being a realtor. I didn't
Mhm.
want to do sales.
Salesperson.
Not what
Yeah.
I wanted. I wanted to grow a business within real estate. That's
Mhm.
the key for me.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could make it different. And I knew that with the decade that we're in, things were changing and shifting. You know,
Mhm.
Airbnb, Uber, all these things. I'm like, there's no way that this is going to be the same way it's been for all of these years because
Yeah.
that's boring. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, shaking hands and putting a smile on your face, and I just in my mind I'm thinking used car salesman,
Yeah.
right? Like just,
Yeah.
and I
And
didn't.
for traditional brokerage models, agent is the client, right? For traditional brokerage models, agent is basically where the money comes from. So the whole brokerage model is set up around how to pull as much money we can out of agents' work, right? So you're literally working for someone. You're not a business owner. I mean, you're lucky, again, you're lucky, right? That universe showed you that you need to have a business owner before you even got in the business. But for majority of agents, 80, 90, I would say 95% of agents, even after going through this business for 5, 7, 10 years, they still struggle to acquire that mindset that they need to build a business, right? So it's amazing that you started with that mindset.
Correct. And I was blessed to grow up in a family of a business mindset. So
Yeah.
um, it was a draw outside of the lines kind
Mhm.
of upbringing for me. And whether it's DNA or, I mean, it could be a little bit
Yeah.
of both. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't do
Yeah.
research on this stuff, but it definitely impacted me. And I'm grateful for that. And some of them never figure it out. And that's
Mhm.
okay. We need those people. Sorry, squirrels, there's a ladybug on my ceiling. It's like it's crawling. What is that? Hoping, fingers crossed in my mind. I was like, it better not be a spider because this is I'm not sure.
Jump up and down on live.
um, and that's okay. I mean, we need those people too, right? Because
Mhm.
as business owners, when we decide to scale, we need people that want to work
Yeah.
and grow together and
Mhm.
support each other and have structure. We need. I mean, it doesn't make somebody bad. There's multiple ways to do everything in life.
Yeah.
You just got to find what fits you.
Mhm.
So I think I got on Google and I was like, top realtors, Michigan, blah 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 blah, and Property Spark popped up. I think it was. So I scrolled all the way to the bottom because they start at the top. With like number 10 in Detroit or
Yeah.
whatever. And then I saw GoGo. I think that's how I found
Oh,
her.
wow.
And then I found her on social media and I followed her. And it wasn't until months later, again, I was on pause because I did not want to jump into this if I wasn't going to be happy. I was not
Mhm.
going to, I wanted flexibility too. I didn't want to have to show up to the office every day and get dressed and ready. I mean, I work from home and I look like a 12-year-old boy half the time. I mean, that's how I work. And that's when I do my best. I'm in my own element. I don't care. It's not about this. When I don't care about any of this, I'm able to focus on this.
Yeah.
And I just hammer down and I don't leave my computer all day long, but that's how I hustle. So I wanted that freedom. And then I found EXP and I read it again. And I listened to videos and I was like, this is really different. The opportunity here, you can choose to make it the same, but you can also choose not to.
Which a lot of people do, right? A lot of traditional brokerages come to EXP and they still run it like before, right? With cold prospecting and the revolving doors and mass recruiting and
and that's okay if that's what works for you and that's what you want and that's what you need. If you need brick and mortar, if you need there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I wanted for me. And I saw that there was opportunity to grow my own business the way that I wanted to. So I pulled the trigger. It was that easy. Wow. And here I am.
Wow. So it's been pretty much from the beginning of you getting licensed, you've been part of EXP, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So can you share how networking and being around the right type of people during that time period contributed to your growth, success in a competitive, industry like real estate? Most agents get in and they're going through imposter syndrome. They don't take action because they don't believe in themselves, and then they're going through shiny object syndrome where they're just trying this out, trying that out. Like how was your first year? What did you do?
I knew it wasn't going to be easy. So I was mentally preparing myself for that. You have to have thick skin, and I mean leather skin, to be in this industry. And this is the reason that I feel why, because there's this kind of, I don't know if I want to reference it as like a stigma or like an expectation or a public visual, because not a lot of people understand what we do. But also, and there are those just very traditional people that, and that's what kind of gets consumed and visualized as an entirety with our industry. So when people decide that they want to be realtors and do this, they think in their minds, because we also make it look easy, that it's easy. And that it's a 9-to-5 because a lot of people run it that way. And that's just kind of a visual. So when people join, they struggle with understanding and very quickly realizing it's not as easy as you thought. That's why over half of the agents that join and become an agent fail in their first year, because it's not what they expected. It's a lot harder than you would think. And I think that being honest with yourself, finding the right place for you, being honest with your expectations of what you're looking for within the industry, and doing your research based on that. And again, your goals and your life and things change over time. So it's okay to move around. It's okay to maybe make a mistake. It's okay to join, one of the OG brokerages. But I look at it like, do we go to Blockbuster or Family Video anymore? No. So, and that's, if you go and rent movies the old school way, or you go to the library still, sure, that's okay. But if that's not what you're looking for, don't go that direction. Find something that fits. Find the shoe that fits. Because if you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure already. So that's the most important thing, in my opinion, is do your research, figure out what it is that you want to do. Realize that this industry has multiple arms of operation. It's not a 9-to-5 job. Everybody runs their thing differently. And you have to understand that. And once people understand that we are all business owners and growing our own businesses the way that we want to grow our businesses, it helps people clarify, I think. But it takes time.
And I think with a lot of people, it's just they're just watching and they just do what other people are doing, right? First of all, they don't set the right expectation, like you mentioned, right? Set the right expectation. It's not going to be easy, right? I think that helps with a lot of hardships you come across in this business. But if you set the expectation that it is going to be hard, I do have to work hard, I do have to build this thing. It's not going to just come to me, and I'm not going to just clock in and clock out like a job, right? It's weird to me that real estate agents has to treat this like a job, but they can't operate like a job, right? They have to treat this like a job, as in like you have to do what you have to do, just like a job,
Yes.
but you can't clock in and clock out. You have to.
Our phone, my phone is, it just rang. Like we are always on our phones. And I can't tell you how many times, just a side note, I'm out with friends or family that aren't in my industry. And they're like, what are you doing? Are you scrolling on social media? I'm like, no, you guys, I'm like, if I post on social media,
putting out fires.
I'm one of the worst. I don't look at people's stories. I don't really comment on a lot of things. I'm there to do business and I'm off. The only time I scroll and get stuck in rabbit holes is in the afternoon or really early in the morning. But throughout the day, I have a slow day. I'm not like, I mean, if I'm on my phone, it's because I'm doing something. And I'm still listening to you. But I'm texting a client right now, or I'm texting an agent and I'm negotiating, or I'm signing docs, or I'm sending a message to my assistants. Can you send this and send that and have this signed? We're always doing something.
Yeah.
And I actually had an agent recently, she was like, well, I'd like to shadow you and kind of get a grasp of what it's like in your world. And I said, well, that's fine, but you're probably going to end up just coming to my house and sitting in this chair right here. And hours are going to go by and you're going to think to yourself, what did she do all day? Because I don't really stick to a schedule. Really. I mean, I relate it to at least the way that I run my business. And I do have a schedule, of course, like I have things that I need to do on a regular basis, but we're kind of on call.
Yeah.
And one day that's going to change. One day I'm going to step away from production personally. But for right now, I enjoy it and it's fun for me and it's still new. It's, I've been doing it for 3 years and that's what I like to do, but it's different. I mean, I might not show any houses for 2 days.
Yeah.
Or I might wake up and not have any plans for the day and think I'm going to spring clean and reorganize my office or something, or organize my CRM. And then I get a phone call from a client that says, I want to go look at 10 houses, or something, you know what I mean? But you said something, squirrels, you said, what did you ask? You said, what is it with agents, new agents and their expectations?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Setting the right expectations with new agents. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of it. You just gotta just do your research.
Yep. Now, with a lot of agents, I mean, I have seen agents that been in business for 20 years and still can't figure out how to get deals consistently, right? How to get opportunities consistently in their pipeline, right? Not only you have figured that out, you have, you're doing well for your business. You also started, your own organization in EXP. And I know that just from your behavior, you're pretty adamant about growing that, right? So what inspired you to not only master your business, but also help other agents, right? And how do you, and I know I see you everywhere, right? Like everywhere there is a networking opportunity, you're there, you're always out and about. I mean, I watched you greet someone's dog and give your business card to them, right? Like, so like what is that fire, or what is that motivation behind not only building your business, but also help other people and build your organization that way? Like what's motivating you and inspiring you to do that?
I just like people. And I think that's probably why I wanted to get involved in this world of psychology. Mm-hmm. Because I know there are a lot of people in the world that struggle to figure things out, mm-hmm. right? We all do, in a sense. At some point in our lives, we've all sat down and thought, what should I be doing and how do I do this and how do I break through this? Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. And a lot of times we don't feel like we have the support that we need. And it's a big, bad world out there. And it's scary and it's intimidating and it's hard. And I would be lying if I said that I didn't have my days of doubt of thinking, God, my phone won't stop blowing up, or like this deal fell apart, and just so many things that happen. It's a roller coaster of emotions and it's difficult. So I've always wanted to help people. And And in the future, I want to help more people. And I'm taking steps one day at a time to get to that point of building a stronger foundation and structure for an organization within eXp Realty.
Yeah.
In the future, I'd love to talk and be on stage and share my story, especially after this most recent big change in my life with a transition in my personal life that happened. It changed me and it molded me, and everything happens for a reason. And I would love to be able to, if not be relatable for somebody, be inspiring at least. So I think that's why. And one of my favorite things to discuss and talk about when it comes to newer agents, or I mean, honestly, some of these agents have been in the industry for 5 or 10 years, and I still see this to this day, of the imposter syndrome, right? Where they feel the need to be something that they're not. And we're all guilty of it in the beginning, because again, it's just this whole stigma of our industry, and we think that this is the way we need to be, formal and, wear a suit.
Make it till you make it.
Yeah. And following the steps of somebody else. But as soon as you realize that it's actually the complete opposite of that, that's when you'll notice that your business starts to grow.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that, right? Like, so it seems like it comes natural for you because you are a people person, you're a social person, right? Like, mixing with people, creating opportunities to conversations. An agent that's getting majority of agents that I have seen getting into business, they're not very good at that, right? Like, there's this awkwardness, right? Like, they don't know how to start a conversation. They don't know how to be social. Or they, like, majority of them go extreme, like they're like throwing up all over people, like, do you want to buy a house or sell a house, right? Like they like, because it's so hard, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to do it naturally, they just go straight into it, right? It's just like, let's just do it, right? Let's just pull the trigger, right? So what strategies would, like, if you were to help a new agent, like, hey, this is how you socially network and build, your relationship with people, what tips would you give a new agent?
The first thing I want to say is, and some people might disagree with this, but if you're not naturally sociable, you're stepping into the wrong industry.
Yeah. I was not, by the way. 11 years ago, I was the most awkward guy in the room that would not talk to someone. Even if you said hi to me, I'll be like, yes, and just walk away. That was me. That was not,
So do you think it was real estate that opened?
It was the need to want to, it was a commitment to be successful. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a really good point. So if you're not naturally sociable, you're probably in the wrong industry, unless you're willing to break the mold of your pattern.
Yeah.
You have to find your why. I mean, if this is like in our minds, right? I mean, I dropped out of college, so I'm like, if I don't do this, what else am I gonna do? Like, so we really don't have any other avenues here. I better not screw this up. And if it gets to that point, your instinct will take over, and you'll force yourself out of your comfort zone. And you can overcome that, but you have to want it. It has to be a do or die. You can't say you want it and you're really like, I'm going to sleep in today, or, I'm just going to, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Go up north and travel. I mean, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to take steps to pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's in everyday life in general. But if you're going to be in our industry, I like to say this: I'm not a salesperson, because houses sell themselves. The house purchase is a very emotional process, unless it's either emotional or it's money, it's mathematical.
Yeah.
So it's either from logic, it stems from logic or emotion.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, it depends on if you're an investor or first-time home buyer. It, of course, depends on the situation. But either way, as long as the property's out there and you find it, and of course, you should always be striving to help your clients find something that they're looking for. But be proactive, right? Not reactive. when it comes to listings and properties that your clients want. But at the end of the day, we are in a networking business.
Yep. Relationship. Yep.
Yes, it's a relationship-based industry. So that's why I say, you're not going to, if you want to be Mr. Rogers, you're not going to be, I mean, you can't be, Ted Bundy would never be able to be Barney. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to be you and not worry about selling the house, because that's going to rub people the wrong way anyway. Houses sell themselves. People know where the kitchen is. People know that this is the garage. People know you don't need to it's not selling Sunset. Don't watch that stuff. It's not real. Half of them aren't even real estate licensed. They're all assistants. So don't even believe it. It's all people. So it's just not the reality of it. At the end of the day, it's about strategizing. And of course, every client will have their thing. Some of them are new home buyers, and you're finding them the perfect house and it checks the majority of their boxes. Well, perfect. There's no such thing as perfect, but the majority of their boxes, and they still don't want to pull the trigger. Well, now you don't have to necessarily sell, but you have to figure out what is stopping them from moving forward.
Making that decision.
Of course, yeah. And what's stopping them from making the decision to pull the trigger. So that's where the psychology stuff comes in. But again, you're not selling, you're communicating.
Yep.
To ask the right questions. This is a very psychological, communicative, networking, relationship building business.
Yeah. And this is what I say, like, because of my transformation from going from like ultra introvert person to socially extrovert. I'm still introverted a little bit, but socially extrovert. When I'm out and about, like, hey, what else am I going to do? It's boring to just sit there, right? So through that journey, what I have seen, if you're not willing to suck at something, you will never be good at that thing. If you're not willing to suck at it, like, okay, you suck at it, so socially engaging with people, go engage with people. You're gonna suck at it in the beginning, but you'll eventually get good at something else. Like Alex Hormozi said the other day, I was like, wow. He said, anything you're good at, you sucked at it first. And it's Alex Hormozi.
I don't know if I know who that is.
Oh, you gotta know Alex Hormozi. You gotta know. He's the free guy. He basically gives everything away for free. And he says, like, your free shit has to be better than their paid shit. Meaning stuff that you give away for free has to be better than the other stuff people are selling. But anyway, Alex Hormozi is big, huh?
Is he in real estate?
No, he's not in real estate. No, he's more like funnel sales. He has like
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to write that down.
Yeah. So he, if anything you're good at today, you sucked at it first.
So true.
If you really think about it, think back, like anything you're good at it today, even at least the first time, even if you're naturally like skilled to do that thing, at least the first time, just like walking, right? We're very good at walking. Every person is very good at walking.
Yeah. When we're born, we have to learn how to walk, right?
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I love that quote. That's a really good point. You have to just put yourself out there. But again, if it's not naturally you, but you want it bad enough, you will change.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want it bad enough, you're going to constantly ask everybody else around you why you're not successful.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the mirror. What needs to be changed here? How many people did you talk to today?
Yeah.
And again, there's a million ways to skin a cat. When it comes to, I guess we could take this into lead generation. When it comes to lead generation and growing your business, there's a million ways, so many ways to grow your business.
Greet people's dog. Just walk downtown, greet people's dog, right? Is that what you do?
So I actually live in the house that I live in. Long story short, because I was driving home with a friend of mine and a realtor. I'm sure you know her, and I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this know her, but Yasmin Rogers. So thank you, Yasmin, first of all, for inviting me out about 2 years ago to dinner. I absolutely adore her, and she's a rock star. She's such a badass, and very influential as well, just like yourself. And I was driving home and I got pulled over, and I was talking to the police officer. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm driving. I really have to go to the bathroom. He's like, well, why are you pulling into Taco Bell? I was like, because I'm on FaceTime with my husband and he wants me to pick him up food. It was like 11:30 at night. He's like, he's hungry. Taco Bell was closed. I was like, so no, I'm just going to go home. And I was like, I'm sorry. And and him and I were arguing about shrubs or bushes in the front yard. So I told the cop that too. I was like, and we're arguing about shrubs and bushes in the front yard. And it's been a day. So I said, thank you for not giving me a ticket. I gave him my business card. And when I handed him my business card, he glanced at it and he said, actually, the deputy, I don't know if that's what you call them, that I'm with, that's helping out tonight or riding along with me, has been trying to sell his house and it's not really going that well.
Wow.
Maybe, I'll give him your card. I'm like, fantastic. So I found out who that guy was. I found him online. He's a local business owner in the area that I was in as well. And I'm just emailing because days went by and I didn't get a phone call. So I had emailed him about his service because this was something that I was actually really looking for as well. And this was not my intention. And he called me and we settled that. And then he said, I think I'm ready to make a change here. Will you help us? And I said, we can absolutely talk about that next if you'd like to, but can we first finish this? So I said, yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the name of the game, right? So then I ended up listing it and a couple people wanted to submit offers. And something was just drawing me to it. So I said, I might want to buy your house. And I did. And here I am. I love it. So yeah, it's putting yourself in the situation, putting yourself out there, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, have conversations. That's what I do. Now it might not be somebody else's primary. There are a lot of people that cold call or do whatever it is that they do. Cold calling is not my thing. And I will not say it's not my thing and not try it. I've tried it multiple times. I will give everything in one opportunity and one shot. I didn't enjoy it. And I know, like, at the end of the day, you have to spend money to make money, right? Like, spend the time, do something. The greater the risk, the greater the reward, the more it's a numbers game. But I just didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling of it when I was doing it. It just didn't fit my personality type.
Yeah.
So I just shake hands, really. Talk to people.
And I know you leverage social media too, right? Pretty well. So what are your tips for realtors aiming? I know there's so many realtors that are so scared, or even if they're doing it, they're not doing it right. Like what are your tips for realtors aiming to use social media platforms? I mean, in my opinion, that would be the future, right? For networking, growing their relationships, growing their brand, getting business from social media.
Set your intention first. Be intentional with what you're using social media for. That's step one. And know your audience. So if you're doing it for lead generation, which isn't, it's not client leads. I more use my social media for something else, but we'll get into that in a second. If you're trying to lead generate, you want to talk about the market. You want to take videos of yourself or have somebody shoot videos of yourself. You don't have to pay somebody. Just ask your cousin or your brother or your uncle or your mom or your dad or your grandma to hold your phone for you, or bring a tripod and do it yourself, and go to local businesses and restaurants and try their food. Get a burger, order a beer, rate it. Talk to the manager, talk to the business owner. Get yourself out there, and do that. I think it's a common misconception that in our industry, our consumer, because they are looking to buy or sell homes, that we only should be talking about buying and selling homes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Be different. Again, that's old school. That's for years and years and years. It hasn't changed where, you sell a house and someone holds up the thing and they're like, sold, and they're with their clients and you're like, I mean, if that works for you, sure, but we don't need to know how many transactions really you're doing. That should all be based on, your website and if somebody wants to do background on you, but you need to provide value and be different and stand out. Anybody can hold a sign, but what are you doing to build a relationship instead of being focused primarily on transactions? Because again,
Yeah.
we're not salespeople. People don't like to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
So be somebody, be the you that somebody can connect with,
Yeah.
that
Relevant.
to work
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Yeah.
That's the best
Yeah.
advice I can give with that.
Yeah. I lost a lot of realtor friends on Facebook because I said it's 2024. Stop posting just listed, just sold. What did I say? Stop posting just listed, just sold, and learn marketing. Oh my god! Like that post went like crazy. It went pretty nuts.
We're all guilty of it. If you scroll back far enough, I did the same thing. I'm like, just sold, and it's like slideshows of the homes that I sold that month, or like the whatever.
Sure, we all did it, and I think it is sure. Social proof is important when it comes to marketing. I teach that, right? But if that's all you're doing, you're boring. Like that's like nobody want. Like people probably will mute you if you do it long enough, and that's all you do. Like anytime you post, you're posting a listing, or you're posting what you just closed on a deal, and you're posting you just penned it on a deal, and you're posting you're inspecting on a house. And some real estate agent tells me their social media strategy is every time they're doing a transaction, they make 4 posts per transaction. When they go under contract, when they sell the house, after they sell the house, the client story, and like if it's a listing, they get an extra post, right? Becoming soon post, right? So I'm like, and what else do you do? It's like, no, that's it. Like that's what I keep rinse and repeat every time I'm doing a transaction. I got 3 to 4 posts per transaction.
So my question to that person would be, okay, the clients that you're getting from that, are they closing transactions? Sounds like they are.
Yeah.
The clients that you're getting from that, are they within your network, or are they brand new people that nobody you've ever closed a deal with have ever met? If it's brand new, fresh business and that's working for you, go for it.
No, look, I know marketing enough to know that for that strategy to work, if that's your only strategy, you have to have a massive network. Okay,
To me,
with normal people network,
yeah.
it just have to be anything with a big network works. Anything with a big network works. Like you
business to grow to that point, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
you get it right away, and then because what happens, I mean, that strategy to me is more staying top of mind.
Yeah,
right. Being out there and saying like, hey, I'm still a realtor, we're still closing deals over here, which if you've been in the industry long enough where you have a network and you're posting on Facebook, and every single one of the clients that you've worked with, and every single the client's husband and then the mom that you met are all liking you and following you on Facebook on your business page, and you're posting that stuff, it's going to pop up on their newsfeed, and then they're going to say, oh my god, they're at family dinner and they're like, actually, Susie Q is buying a house. I really
they give a referral.
Like here, follow them on social media, they post homes all the time, and it works that way, and that's great. But again, it's not you can't, it's trial and error, and you kind of have to, this is why this industry is so hard. You kind of have to you gotta do kind of a little bit of everything.
You gotta show them the good, bad, and ugly. That if I were to summarize social media strategy, show them everything. Sure, you don't have to show them everything, but mix it up. Have 3 different topic that you post on. Don't just do it about real estate. Do it about your hobby. Do it about whatever you're passionate about. Do it about whatever your truth is. Do it about your kids, family, right? Like mix it up. Sure, have that same strategy, but mix it up. Then it's another thing that could backfire on someone who is actually pretty successful, like where they close a lot of deals and all they post is deals, is that people might start thinking you're too busy for them. So naturally what you would attract, what you might even repel by just constantly posting your closing deals. So people start getting impression that you're too successful for them, right? And that happened to me when I wasn't doing organic marketing. I didn't learn organic marketing. I used to do a lot of paid, right? So I didn't care for organic, right? So all I used to post is like, I remember this one month I posted 40 closings, and like I started getting haters among my sphere, right? Like people, the other realtors that knew me, like they would look at me differently with the side eye, right? Like and then it's just like, sure, you could take it with a grain of salt, right? But mix it up. I think that is like, even if you were to just mix it up and not show that you're closing deals, you get business. The opposite is completely true, right? Like, you're showing your personality, you're showing what you do on a day-to-day basis, you're going out to a restaurant, you give feedback on the restaurant, right? You do all of that and you never show you close a deal, you get business. Like, that strategy would definitely work.
As long as you're not a secret agent and you let people know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You related to real estate, of course, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
And show your face. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how many agents do we know that walk through and they're at a showing? Which, be careful with this, realtors out there, by the way, because
Yeah.
you do not want to violate your code of ethics.
Yeah.
Where they're showing a property and it's another listing agent, and they just do like the panoramic video.
Yeah.
They post
And
they posted on their reels on Instagram or something, and it's like, okay, I mean, great luxury.
that could work too with the voiceover. If they could hear you, they could see you, right? Like, meaning you do a voiceover on top of a walkthrough, people
Yeah.
could hear you. You're making like, there is a lot of agents that in our academy, they're not comfortable with getting on video at all. So we teach them, okay, sure, do a video walkthrough, but your voice has to be there. That's like a must. They have to hear you.
I'm going to reference it this way. I'm going to use this. If I did this and I talked about real estate and I was like, hey, yep, we had a closing today, how much business do you think I would get? Because it's an eye contact. It's an eye contact. You need to see that we're human beings.
Yeah.
We're communicative. What's the word I'm looking for? We're hungry for connection.
Yeah.
And that's why, if you've noticed, if you've been in this industry long enough, and I don't know if they can comment on this or what, but if you've been in this industry long enough, tell me I'm wrong when I say that your clients are very similar to how you are.
Yeah.
Because you're relatable. There's whether you reference it as energy or interests, or there's always a very large amount of common ground with every single one of your clients.
Yeah.
And that's because they saw you and they networked with you, or they met you, or they saw a video, or they saw your photo, or they whatever. And it was like the way you brand and do your marketing. If you're very minimalistic and you're contemporary, and somebody else is very type A and analytical and engineer type, they're going to like that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're very loud and like colorful and bright, and I mean, you're going to be around. I mean, people. Your clients will operate as a magnet for you, and they'll want to work with you because of who you are, because there's a common ground, there's a similarity there. People want to work with people that they have that with. So you need to show your face. You can do videos of just property tours around a house, sure, but mix it up still, and make sure you're still showing yourself and talking about things that you like to do and posting photos of yourself. And if you're comfortable enough, some people don't like to talk about their family and they like to keep that completely separate, and that's okay. Whatever your thing is, just be your authentic self, but don't just stick to one thing, and never, ever, ever, ever feel like you need to be someone that you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we have a whole coaching module on like being real, but I want to just like kind of summarize this conversation. I could talk with you forever, as you can see, is that like, number one, confidence gives birth to sales. Like, when it comes to sales, confidence is what gives birth to sales. Sales is a transformative process. You take someone from point A to point B by giving them that transformation. That's what a sales conversation is, to me, right? At least. And
I'm going to reiterate and be more specific on that specific comment, because I do like that. But you want to be confident in what you're doing. You want to be confident in. You don't want to be that agent, and it's okay to not have the answer to everything, because we're not going to. This industry is very complex and things are forever changing, especially right now.
Yeah.
So we're in a kind of a crazy. We're in a little bit of a purgatory. We'll see what happens. But
I would call it blip. We're in a blip.
yeah, I like that. So, you want to be confident in what you're doing. You also want to be self-confident. Whether you're very loud and boisterous or not, that's not what confidence is, you guys. It's not what we're talking about. What we're saying is be confident in if they're hiring you and trusting you with one of, where I would say 90% of society's number one asset, most expensive asset that they own is their home. They're trusting you with that. So you better know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't, and maybe you're a little bit new, which is okay too, be honest and say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to get that for you.
Yeah.
Make sure you have somebody behind you that can support you if you're not the expert.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason I wanted to reiterate that is because if you're not very confident, loud, boisterous on your own, that's okay. Make sure you're still being you, because the clients that want to work with you, maybe it's first-time home buyers, and maybe they're a little bit more sensitive, or maybe they're taken back a little bit, or, they don't, if they meet somebody like me, they're like, I scare them, where it's like almost, I'm too aggressive and I'm too loud, and they just get overwhelmed. So if you're on the more timid side as an individual, be that. Just make sure you're confident in what it is that you're doing.
Yep. Now, like I'm only halfway there, and we're already like way past our time that I usually do is like 40 minutes. But look, I do want to ask you this last question, because I have to ask you. Maybe I'll bring you another time. We'll do another episode with the other 5 questions I had. Is that masterminds, community, being around the right people, right? And I know because of the journey that you've been through, I can tell that made a big impact in being part of Tony Robbins community, being part of Gogo's community, right? Like, how crucial do you think that is for the future of someone's in the future for being successful in this industry?
I wouldn't even relate that to this industry. If you were trying to grow, I hope that everybody out there is trying to strive and be better than they were yesterday. I really, truly hope that and wish that for you. Because that's what we're all here to do, right? I mean, if we were the same person that we were when we were 15, then, we would still be there. So it's important to remember that you're a product of your environment. And if you don't like your environment, you can change and break your mold. Some people are, the people that look at people and say, oh, well, she got lucky, she was raised this way, and she had the business mindset. If you weren't raised in that, pick up a book.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to learn it.
Yeah.
We have unlimited resources for our success. Whatever it is that you want in life, we have unlimited resources. And if you're not willing to take action to change what it is that you want to change, and you're making excuses for yourself, then it means you just don't want it bad enough. Right? It's enough with the poor me. We all have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're surrounding yourself, because proximity is power. We're the average of the 5 people that we spend most time with. I mean, you guys, we've all heard this over and over, time and time again, and it's true. So if you don't like what your best friend is doing, or if you don't really get along with, for me, it was, personal life. There were some things where things were changing, and it needed to be changed.
Yeah.
It's okay. Make the change. Put yourself in rooms of people that are going and taking action, or are already where you want to be.
Yeah.
And who you want to be. So Tony Robbins, for me, love him. Jordan B. Peterson, love him. Psychologist, fantastic guy. Ed Milet, love. I mean, there's a lot of people. I like to read books lately. I'm reading this right now, How Highly Effective People Speak.
I have it right there on my shelf.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I just started diving into this. And I practice yoga, and I do, lots of things have been changing. I'm very spiritual and metaphysical as well. And that's what I like, and that's what makes me happy. And so I always put myself in those rooms. That's what I am. That's what I'm doing all the time. And I'm trying to level up all the time, because that's what I want to do. Yeah. So if that's what you want, yes, education is extremely important. We have to be educated. Things are forever and ever changing. At this point with technology and stuff, I can't even keep up. It's like something, I just get the hang of something, and then just get a second to take a breath, and then something else happens and is changed.
Yeah.
New technology.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to invest in yourself, but don't waste your time if it's not something you truly want. If you're going to keep making excuses for yourself, don't waste your time. Save the money.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize if you're not growing, you're dying, and people hear this, right? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But no, it doesn't make sense if you didn't really get what it means. If you really look at everything in the universe, it's either grows or dies. There is nothing that stays the same in the universe. There's nothing that stays the same. Nothing that's living, at least, right? But even if it's not a living thing, you will see a dying, decomposing. That's dying, right? So that should give people the message that if growing is not your utmost priority, you're not consciously trying to level up and grow, there is a chance that you will digress, not progress, right? But anyway, I could talk to you forever, and I think I have a call coming up, so I want to wrap it up. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you want our audience, and my audience, of course, real estate agents, brokers, team leaders, that you want to say? Maybe how to reach out to you. What are you doing to help agents right now? And we can wrap this up with that.
I could talk to you forever too. I really could. I really enjoy our conversations. I want to say, what do I want to say? Just go out there and kick ass if that's what you want to do. And if you want to inspire people. And if you want to be on a team, be on a team. And if you want to be in real estate and you're looking for some support or some conversations like this, or somebody just to connect to, I mean, both of us, either one of us, reach out to him.
Don't reach out to me. Reach out to her. You don't want me. Trust me.
And remember that at the end of the day, we're all in it for the same purpose.
Yeah.
Be nice. Wake up and be a blessing to the universe. Be the change that you want to be, and apply the change in yourself that you want to see. And just do it and enjoy it. And if anybody has questions and they want to reach out, Instagram's the best place for me. It's the Alexis Carrera. That's where people will find me. And like I said,
the Alexis Carrera
on Instagram. And I am putting together a pretty awesome network of support within eXp Realty. So if somebody's interested in that too, they can reach out to me, and we can talk a little bit about that.
All right, there you guys have it. Alexis, you guys, those of you who felt relevant to this conversation, to her story, feel free to reach out to her, have a conversation. She's always open, as you can see. We can talk forever, and I'm definitely bringing you back. I don't know, let's give it a few months, and I'm definitely bringing you back for further this conversation. And those of you who've been listening in, thank you to you guys for supporting and tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week on the next one.
Thank you.